Welcome to Everyday Speed Bumps. We are Valentina.
And Andrea, and together we will dive in the unexpected pauses of our life journey.
So if you're navigating the twists and turns of life, join us as we share laughs, stories, and lessons from our everyday speed bumps.
Remember, there is always another speed bump ahead, but together we got this.
Welcome everyone to a new episode. We're still getting used to all this dynamic, but pretty excited, especially because today we're talking about a topic that's really close to us. I feel like it's become a part of our identity even, and it's immigration grief.
We have been wanting to do this topic since we started to talk about the podcast, so I'm so excited to finally be here recording it.
I think I talk about this topic at least once a month.
I think it's not that much of how we really talked about it.
Yeah, it's something that I'm still trying to navigate, and yeah, it's been an exciting journey full of lessons and self-discovery, especially growth, a lot of growth.
Yeah.
I think a starting point would be to talk about how we got here. Why, like, how did you become a migrant?
Why did we move to London?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me start with it. Almost 5 years ago, I was working all in Colombia. Perfect. I was working with government. I had my career there. I knew where I wanted to go. But in order to speed up, to grow in my career, I needed to do my master. I started to look masters in my area as a political scientist. And I knew that I didn't want to do it in the US. I wanted to come to Europe. I had a trip where I had a wedding here in London. I was going to visit my friends that live around Europe. So I came to London and I felt something in this city. So I was like, okay, why don't we explore universities in London? At that moment, Vale, I don't know if I ever told you, but at that moment, I hadn't explored universities in London.
So you just came for a holiday.
For a holiday. And I was exploring universities.
But not in London.
I don't know why.
And you were here with your cousin, the one that still lives here.
Yes.
Okay.
He was getting married. It was the time he was getting married. We should invite him once.
Yeah.
He has a really cool story of life. So we were here and I was like, I felt something in this city. I loved it since that day one I arrived. And then I went back to Colombia and I started started to look universities. I applied to different universities, actually 4 universities, all in the UK. And I got accepted in all of them. In one of them, I got part of a scholarship. And that's why I ended up entering to LSE, which was in London. And it gave me a bit of scholarship.
And when you moved here, did you ever imagine you were going to stay for so long?
Vale, I internally I had a feeling that I was saying goodbye in Colombia, but I wasn't facing it because I had my career path in Colombia. I knew where I wanted to go. I'm going to tell you, I wanted to be president of Colombia. That was my dream when I was living there. And I was creating...
You still have time.
Yeah, let's see. I was creating my path towards that in Colombia. But I had a birthday party the year before, and all of my friends were saying, we know you are not coming back when you leave. And when I was saying goodbye to all of my friends, they all know, they were like, we know you're going to stay there.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this sounds weird. And actually, I ended up coming here. Everything happened in a way that before coming here, I spent a couple of months in my city in Barranquilla. And then I moved to London in September 2019, just before COVID. And
Just before COVID. What a great time to move to another country.
But that's a cool story. But and then I moved here to London at that time and everything was amazing. I started to do my master's, meeting people all around the world. And I was having the best time of my life. And then the rest, we will dig it out later.
Yeah.
And you, Vale?
My story was a little different. Mm-hmm. Now that you mentioned that your friends were sure that you weren't coming back, for me, it was kind of like the opposite. When I was saying goodbye, they were all like, yeah, see you next year. right? You're coming back next year.
I look at her.
And yeah, and I really thought I was going to be back in Venezuela after 1 year, especially because I left during the pandemic where the airspace was closed. And I got an emergency humanitarian flight from the Spanish embassy. And they called me the night before telling me, we got a spot for you.
You didn't know this?
Yes, we got a spot for you. Come to the airport at whatever time. And you can only bring one suitcase. So I packed whatever I could in one suitcase.
If I told you how many suitcases?
Yeah, I called everyone to say goodbye because I was leaving. And all of a sudden, like I kind of don't even remember how the journey was. I remember that my mother drove me to the airport, but they didn't let her in because of COVID. And all of a sudden, I landed in London. I did have a friend living in London, Christy. She had moved a year or 2 years before me. And that was so helpful. She greeted me at the train station where I arrived.
Not any friend, by the way. A really close friend.
Yeah, one of my closest friends. And her husband, Jose, also so special. They greeted me. I was staying with them at that time because, you had to quarantine for a few days. They helped me search for apartments, everything. But I'm going in so many ways. The point is, I moved to London thinking I was going back. I came here to do a master's, a 1-year master's. It was on strategic communications in the war studies department at King's College of London. And after that year, something else came up, something else came up, something else came up, and it's been 4 so far.
But life took you to be here, to stay here. In my case, at first I had that feeling that maybe I was coming back to Colombia. But when days were passing by, COVID hit, in March 2020, everyone was thinking of going back to their countries. I was at the library of my university of LSE. And we were at the library. We had a meeting there, because of a project, and we received an email from our dean saying that, hey, university is closed from tomorrow. So it was panicking in the library. It was not anymore a library. It was like a panic place. Everyone calling their families. And I remember that I called my mom and I told her, Mom, what should I do? Should I go to Colombia? Should I stay here? And she told me, I don't want to force you to any decision. It's your decision. You decide. Because then I don't want you to tell me, because you told me I'm here, trapped in Colombia, blah, blah. I decided to call my good friend Edu, a good friend from Colombia that I consult him important decisions in my life. And I asked him the same question and he gave me this advice. When things are going to be passing by in London, in Colombia, they're going to just be starting. I recommend you to stay in London. And exactly that's what I did. In London. In May, we were in the parks. June, in Colombia, was closed. And during that time, during COVID, I felt I really and I started to do many things. It was not easy time, but I started to do many things.
To do many things where? In your flat?
No, I was not in a flat. I was in a dorm. In a dorm where in my room, where was a kind of a single bed. It was my library, my toilet, and I was sharing the kitchen with 6 people that we were not allowed to be in the same space.
Yeah.
So I spent COVID in my room.
Oh my God.
After that, I started to find ways of earning a bit of money so I could stay in London at least till December.
You were still doing the masters during that time?
I finished in September.
Okay.
And in September, I moved to a shared flat in another area.
And how were you feeling during that time? I mean, you were in a new country, most of the time alone. You couldn't leave your dorm, or at least not with any company. How did you feel?
I was alone in my room. So in that room, I cried many times. I started the call for a healing process. I started to found myself because I didn't have much space to do many things. But also at the time in my room, exactly like in small space, I started to do my exercise. I started to love exercise during COVID, doing exercise in my room with some Mexicans, Rod 5040. Everyone in pandemic joined them
except for me.
Yeah, no, I joined them and they actually made me start loving exercise before I hated it. And it was a lot of like self countering that I'm not there anymore. I'm here. I need to find a way to be happy here with what I have.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of FaceTimes with my friends that they live in Europe, calling family, but it was different.
Yeah.
It was a moment of self introspection. Is that how you can say it? Of self discovery, of trying to decide what I want to do next.
Yeah. And kind of accepting that that was your new home.
Yeah.
You know, your plans were now in London.
In the middle of COVID, I started to realize I want to be here and started to feel like a big call of London needs you. It needs to my personal growing, to my personal development. So I decided, hey, why not here? And then summer passed. Summer was here really good. We had the best time, house meetings, stuff like that. And yeah. And then I moved to another flat in September that year in 2020. And that was, I was finding like those jobs like by hours and stuff like that online to
like a freelancer.
Freelance, to earn a bit of money. And I was doing everything to try to stay in London.
Wow.
Till December, where at that moment, I didn't find any job. Every job was rejected. I was only looking in development. And hey, where there's COVID happening, there's no money to focus on development.
Yeah. So we're letting people go, and then you were looking for a job at the same time.
Exactly. And I put in December, like that flat was over because it was a short-term contract. I called my mom. She told me, come on December 2020, come here and let's see. And I put all my bags, I put all my stuff in a storage. I knew I was coming back to London.
Wow. I think during that time, I wouldn't have been brave enough to do that and go to Venezuela with everything in storage. I would have never come back. And it's because during my first year and even the second, I still saw it as a trip. I was just on a long trip to London.
You were doing a master, like normal person that come to London to do the master in her dream university.
And then for me, it was, getting to meet new people, studying something that I found interesting. I had a lot of time for myself. And then I extended that holiday into moving to Jordan. And yeah, I was still on the temporary mindset where eventually I would go back home.
You moved to Jordan when?
So I came to London in September.
Okay, September 2020.
Yeah. I moved to Jordan in May. Mm-hmm. And I came back from Jordan in October.
October 21. Okay, at the time you were going to submit your dissertation by that time. So what happened? You submit your dissertation and then I think in London and I submit my dissertation. Your plans were going back to Venezuela.
Yeah. And then I decided to give myself a shot at, having a professional experience, at least for 1 year in London. So I applied for jobs. I got a job and I still saw it as a holiday. I still felt like, yes.
Despite literally
despite everything.
Hired,
yes.
etc. in the company you are now.
No, that was a previous one.
Okay, a previous one.
But I would still see it as a holiday. I knew that I could always just get a ticket to go back home and my life would continue there. And I think it's not until I started to feel very comfortable that I realized I was just going to stay here for longer. But that didn't mean it was a decision. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it was more like an accident. Like I kept extending it to a point where I was settled there.
For me, you know what? In that December of 2021 that I went to Colombia, I had everything in storage. So I stayed in Colombia till I got the job. So I was still applying. And I even remember I went to a trip to Cartagena with friends and we met some people. And my friend was literally telling, oh, she lives in London. And at that moment in my head was like, I don't know if I live in London. Like, I know that
But you wanted to.
I wanted to, but I didn't have a house. Everything of my work was in a storage, and I was trying to find a job. And then still apply. I got a job in changing my career path in that job, and I needed to come back to London from one day to another. And we need to understand that we're actually here.
Yeah. But I think that's easier said than done. Because while I was living this wonderful holiday in my head where, I was for an extended time that kept extending.
Okay, wait a second. She was in a formal job, not a random job. She was in a formal job, and she was thinking she was still on holiday. Nice.
Yeah, I was just, excited for everything that was happening, but I thought it was temporary.
I'm gonna ask you a question. How was your room? Did you feel your room, or just as a temporary thing?
Temporary, completely. I remember going to IKEA, buying everything, and I was like, what am I getting for my temporary room?
Okay.
Yeah. And even I got a desk, a chair, everything. And before going to Jordan, I sold everything. And then I came back and I thought I wouldn't need another desk or another chair or anything. And then, you just rebuy a new desk, and yeah, it just starts becoming a little more real. That's when I started having what they call immigration grief. It gave me a lot of anxiety because I was feeling like I had one foot in London and another foot in Venezuela. And it even made me question my identity because I grew up in Venezuela. After 25 years, I moved here. And that was who I was. I developed my character, my culture, the way, my criteria. So many things about myself were determined by my background, right? And then you come to a new place where there are lots of cultural differences, even though London is a very multicultural and diverse city. In the end, even though each culture has a space, yours isn't the most predominant. And I knew that I had to adjust myself or reinvent myself in order to feel comfortable and to really be a part of this place.
What hit me up most in my case was my career. Because I started here my career from zero.
Yeah, you had to let go of everything you built before.
But in English will never be my 100% perfect language. Okay, maybe one day it can be closer, but like I have issues with talking, like the verbs.
That's why she started a podcast.
Issues with verbs and stuff like that. And you know what? In my first job in London, they even I had a private English tutor because I can tell kind of how they didn't believe 100% of my capacities.
Yeah.
They believe because of the English, but they didn't want me to put in front of client because they thought I was not going to deliver 100%. Until the day they put me in front of client and the client loved me because I have an accent, but I'm really good at what I do. So they were like, oh, you actually do it good. And it's like, yeah. But it's all internally of just saying, what if? That's a big question for us. What if I stayed back in Colombia? Where would I be right now?
Maybe you would be in a great place.
Maybe.
I don't think the point is even around how your life changed being here. Because there are many options. There are many paths. And no matter which one you choose, if you're, vibrating in a positive way, if you have, a good mindset, if you put your best, no matter what path, you're going to do great. I have a lot of friends back home, and you do as well. And they're smashing it even more than a lot here. And I think that's wonderful. And that's one of the things that was affecting me at the beginning, because there's, this judgment that in Latin America, most countries are underdeveloped. And so, people are not as capable or
super crazily smart.
I even heard moments where people would tell me, you should be so happy about this opportunity. You should be so grateful about the twist that your life is going to have going forward. And I realize people should be careful about the things they say, especially when when talking about a topic as delicate as migration. You don't know what the person is going through. And that tap in the back, like make the most of this opportunity for, in my case, was like, I really want to take the time to sit down with this person and educate them about my background, about my country, about how capable the people in Venezuela are. And the fact that you leave doesn't mean that whatever you left behind is rubbish.
No, it's amazing. You know what? Here, because we are surrounded with many people that, yeah, maybe not a lot have accent, but we also know a lot that still have from their countries. And that makes you feel like, okay, nice. Or when you talk with another international, they ask you where you're from. I'll say Colombia. Oh, yeah, amazing. Or Venezuela, amazing. So it's like, you feel like I'm proud of being who I am in the country that I am. And I will always take my country in a big. If it was for me, I would be having a flag saying, "Hello, people, I'm Colombian."
You do it.
Yeah, I do it.
I mean, you don't need the flag to make that point clear.
Yeah. But there's another shift. It's not about the career that you left or the other path of your professional life, but what about the people?
Yeah. Did you feel guilt at any point? Did you feel like you failed them and in a way abandoned them?
There were many people that were believing in me in my political career that I felt like, oh, maybe I left them, I failed them. But that's, in the other part, I spent almost 3 years without going back to Colombia. And there are many things around. And on that, I missed many things. I haven't been in many important moments of my close friends and family for living here, for being in London, for trying to achieve my dreams.
In terms of immigration grief, did you ever experience it? Did you ever feel that? I'm not going to say sadness because it comes in many ways. And what made you, get better on it and leave with it?
There are two events that it hurt me or it marked me living in London. The wedding of my two best friends. And they both got married in Colombia. I missed those two weddings. I have missed many weddings, but those two weddings, they hit me crazy. The first one more, because it was the first one.
The second one wasn't as important.
No. Andrea will kill me and she knows. But it was because on the first one, it was the first time I was missing such a big event. I cried and I told myself, I'm here. I cannot be there at every moment. They know I'm with them, with their heart. They want to be me, obviously being the party because I like it. I go to the stage and dance the whole night. But it was trying just to understand and get that life is different, and sometimes living in another country, it comes with the part of
missing out.
Missing out.
Yeah.
And it's not the fear, but getting to know yourself and say, I cannot be there all the time. I cannot be there all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard. It has been hard and still it's hard. It still is hard when my godson was born and I didn't go to, I wasn't there, or when my nieces and nephews, their birthday, or when my family, even on a Sunday where they are meeting for lunch and I'm not there. It's knowing that I am away, I'm here for them, but I need to find a way that I also need to be living my life. And now my life is in London.
Yeah.
For you, Ale, how has it been? Because I know for you, it has been more...
I'm more attached. I'm more attached to my roots.
Really attached to her roots. But I'm going to be honest I'm going to tell you here in camera one thing. I'm so proud of the person you've become and how you have been facing it, because I know your struggles.
Yeah. And I was terrified because everyone kept telling me you need to reinvent yourself in order to adjust to this new reality. And for me, that was a no-go. I was like, reinvent myself. Why would I do that if I love who I am? And I love, everything that comes with it. And then I realized we had to coexist, and I had to let go of a few things, and they had to learn a few things from me, from my culture.
Letting go what, for example?
It was letting go the expectation.
Okay.
The expectation that everything would be the same way as it was back home. Okay. That I would be as close to people, that the parties would be the same way, that working dynamics would be the same. So letting go of the idea that I could replicate that here in the exact same way.
I know.
Back home, obviously, you have your family, friends from childhood, a lot of people that grew with you. So they know a lot about your background and a lot about yourself. Here, you meet new people that only know that version of you, not all the baggage that comes with it. And when you embrace your story, when you embrace everything that comes with you, you want to share it. And for me, it was very frustrating at the beginning that they could only see this and not everything that's behind.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's a big part of myself, and I want to scream it.
I agree with you. It's like, you don't know how I was before. You don't know who I am, who truly I am.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, you know my friends, they're awesome.
They're amazing.
Just the most basic things. And I think letting go of the expectation made me open myself to embracing new experiences and new dynamics. So now, I look back and I'm like, I love the way it works back home, but I'm also loving how it works here.
Because you need to reinvent your reality. It's like not reinventing yourself. It's a good point, Vale. But like reinventing your reality. Knowing that, I have my friends from back home. They still love me. I still love them. But here I need to create a support group, friends, that here they are family, if I'm honest with you, because my friends here, my closest friends here, they are literally my family. And trying to, create a new reality. Even you rebuild, you reinvent yourself in a way, not living who you were.
I'm still the same.
The same?
Everyone knows I'm loud, but better.
Because with yours,
like the wine. I'm the same. I have a friend, Liz. Every time she sees me, she goes fuego, and I love that because it's like that girl really got it.
That part.
I love it.
And you know what? It's something that we'll never like. If they told me, and they have told us, you speak too loud. And I'm like, okay, I am allowed to speak loud. I'm Colombian.
Yeah.
Like literally like that.
Yeah. And then some things you even control. Like if you're the loudest all the time, eventually you tone it down a little bit. It doesn't hurt anyone.
Kind of.
But I think that's a beautiful feeling when you manage to feel equally comfortable in both places. And when you're here, you miss it back home. Well, back home. Now, what is home? But now when I go back, I miss everything here.
That's a good part. Like, we are here, but when we come back to our London home, it's like, oh, I miss home. I miss London.
Yeah.
You always miss being there, but this starts to become your home.
Yeah. And you start accepting what you said. You're going to miss special moments.
How has that struggle been with you?
It's been I don't even know what to say. It's been better than I expected because I'm very independent. Like I'm very okay with being alone, with spending time by myself. Even during that time when I moved to Jordan, I think I never cried or, I never felt sad. I was always, happy and just focusing on the positives. But, everyone that you love has their life and they have their milestones, and sometimes you want to be there to celebrate with them. So whenever my dad's celebrating something, my mother's, celebrating something, when my sister had her baby 4 months ago, when my brother, needs someone to give him some advice, whatever, you want to be there. And then you just learn how to be there in a different way.
Woof, that's a good part. You learn how to be there in a different way.
Yeah. I come from a big family.
And you are all
And
really close.
we're all very, very close. We get together all the time, barbecues on the weekends, family trips to the beach. They're always together. And I'm very close to like my uncles, aunts. They're kind of like my friends. And you just accept. Now they send, at the beginning, they would send pictures of everyone at the beach. And I would feel FOMO. I was like, I want to be there. But now they send the pictures and I just feel happy for them because I'm also happy here.
Yeah.
Now it's not a competition of where am I happier? No, it's just I'm happy in different ways in both places. And that brings me peace.
Yeah. And I know it has been a journey for you and even for both of us.
And for everyone.
For everyone.
I have a friend that moved to New York to do a master's last year. And the first days were horrible. She was so upset, overthinking emotions, not knowing what would come next. And now I see her and I laugh because she's so happy and everything's stable. So I think it's just about giving yourself some time to sink everything in, accept, and decide, what you want to do, because going back home is okay as well.
Yeah. But it's making the decision. It's an everyday decision of making where you are. For us in London, but anywhere in where they move, where they migrate, of making that place home. And even, for example, getting a nice bed sheet or
yeah, after my IKEA stuff, I got my proper one.
Yeah.
The one for, I'm sleeping here for long.
So, or buying small things or getting even something from your country or your family, a picture, whatever. It's like they know that I will always be with them, not always physically, but by heart, we're super connected. Calling your family or your friends. And in this part of friends, it's like how friendships transform. Not only family relationships, but also friendships.
I was very scared at the beginning about being forgotten. That was a big fear I had. I don't know where it came from. But I felt like if I wasn't there,
they will forget who is Vale. That Vale was your friend.
Yeah.
Like they have deleted. Okay.
Yeah. That I was always like, hey, what's up? Tell me about your life. Because I didn't want to lose contact. So I kind of even forced it. But then, when friendship, they will never forget.
In that part, you know what? For me, a lot of my other best friends, closest friends, we don't talk now. We don't talk weekly. We don't talk in months. And I just know I call them and it's like if time has never passed.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it happens a lot. And it also happens, now speaking about the reality here, it happens that I celebrate a lot more every moment where I stop and I think it feels good. I feel comfortable. I feel like this is something familiar. I embrace those moments so much. They're so meaningful. And I found that in, friendships where I never thought I could connect to a certain level with someone. I've found it embracing my own culture and wanting to share it with other people. So, for instance, an example, Venezuelan arepas.
Colombian arepas.
Venezuelan, okay, arepas.
Arepas.
I make arepas almost every day. And now my thing here is like making arepas for the people I love. And I love it when I see the joy in other people when they try it.
Amazing.
And it's something so minor, but so significant for me.
Yeah. You try to spread your true self in that way. So
Yep.
we always do in on our group of friends, arepas at Vale. And I'm happiest at being a Colombian because I love Venezuelan arepas. Or even me when I went back to Colombia, I brought you, okay, Vale, look at these Colombian arepas. And I brought Vale a big range of Colombian arepas, just showing, and we love both.
Yeah.
Like I'm obsessed with Venezuelan ones. Vale loves Colombian ones. So it's like, it's trying to mix up. And there's one thing I want to highlight. You can build yourself, you can create the same as close as friendships as the friends that you, as the same as the friends that you grew up. So it's part of us because we have been open to do it, because many people, they are not open, and then you can crash your experience living in another country. We have been open of meeting people, and because you know what, you never know to which plan they invite you or in which place you actually meet those friends that become your closest friends, that becomes your family. And it's an example, like, for example, instead of going, I don't know, Sunday lunch at the house of an aunt or a friend or in a family, we talk in our group of friends, hey, what are you doing on a Sunday? And that feels family. I have a friends from back home living close to my flat. And now the mother of them is in London, has been in London for a bit. And she texts, like, we talk and she tells me, oh, come on Wednesday for lunch. I'm making you ajiaco or Colombian beans or whatever. So today actually was one of those days. And I wanted to highlight that when she texted me, oh, come tomorrow for lunch. I'm going to make you these. And I literally, when I go there, I'm like, I'm the happiest person ever, because even in those small things that I was eating, like the beans with the beef and everything, that specific, I was like, this feels like home.
Yeah.
So you start to cherish those small moments that makes you feel like at home. Even it can be eating the food from your country, or all midnight I spend awake watching Colombia in Copa America. Best
Time for breaks, Colombia advertising.
No, but it's also small things. It's like, I want to feel that I'm still part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I enjoy every second of spending the night doing it. So it's like, you can be far away, but even your inner soul or your inner attitude is still connected. And hey, embrace it.
Yeah.
You will never be a fully person from another country. You have your roots.
You have your roots. No matter where you come from.
No matter. No. We talk here as Venezuelans, as Colombians.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing for any person from any part of the world that migrates, not to London, but to any country, any city. Yeah.
I've spoken to a lot of people from other countries, so not from the UK, that have moved here. And I find it surprising how, despite the background, the feeling is similar.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling towards interaction with locals, the feeling positive and constructive, both. The feeling towards what they left behind and the feeling towards the opportunities presented. And I think that's something that makes you feel like you're not the only one.
We're all in this path together.
Because at the beginning, when I started feeling, all this confusion and debating between who I was, the version from before or this new version, I felt like it was only happening to me, and that terrified me. Because I was like, if this is happening, because I looked around and I would compare myself with other people who had moved here. And I wondered, how are they so comfortable and chilled and happy if I'm going through all of this, snowball that kept growing and growing and growing with questions and questions and questions about myself. And the moment I started connecting and hearing other people's stories, I released. It was like, okay,
you know what?
It's normal.
People don't go out on the street saying, hey, I'm an immigrant. This is my story. But everyone is having their own internal battles. And they will not come and say, hello, my name is Andrea and my internal battles are A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
No, but they are what they are doing. They are embracing what they have. They are living the moment that they have in their new country. Because if you spend here every day thinking, oh, my country, oh, my country,
In
oh,
the
my
same
country.
way, in the same way
you
that
will
if
like literally be destroying yourself.
Yeah. In the same way that if you don't leave the country and you're always wondering, I should have gone there, I should have tried this, I should have. The should haves are the best indicator of
You should
go do it.
Do it. Do it.
Go do it.
Because you know what? I heard it. Where you feel fear, then it is there. Even the fear of starting a podcast, of the fear of moving to a new country.
And what an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you do it, it's like, oh, I have fear of doing it. Or when you go to a roller coaster, example, oh, I'm scared of doing it. But then you do it, it's like, oh, amazing. Yeah, that's a small thing as the roller coaster. But like, there are many other. And the fear of moving to another country and then you move is like, hey, I did it. And we are here and we are brave of doing it. We are brave of starting from zero in a different culture, in a different country with different friends. Hey, that's to be admired.
I remember when I first moved here, everything was around Venezuela.
Oh, yeah.
So
we see on Padre Valentina, Venezuela, the center of the world.
Venezuela, the center of the world. It would rain and I'd be like, but in Venezuela, it doesn't rain that much. I would drink water and I would say, Venezuela water tastes better. I don't know, even grocery shopping. Oh, tomatoes in Venezuela are a lot better. Comparing everything and I feel one of the key factors has been to let go of that.
Yes. Oh yeah, maybe
even though Venezuela rocks.
Yeah, but like you need to live, you need to be happy with what you have. You need to, if not, why are you being here? Be happy, enjoy every second.
One good thing, my arepas are equally good here and in Venezuela.
Ah, yes. Yeah, and here you find your amazing things and you enjoy it and you start following, I don't know, say like being more grateful with small actions, being more grateful when someone cooks the food you like from home here, being more grateful when your friends invite you. Like you start to be more grateful of the small moments and make you say, hey, it's all worth it.
Yeah. So I think the best advice to anyone out there that's going through the process is just trust that no matter where you are, there's a plan for you if you work hard for it. And
there is always a place that you can also call home that is not only your home. And sometimes going back can be hard. Sometimes going back is encountering even your fears, not because sometimes going back is not just happiness and bright light. But there is always, it's going to be always your country. It's going to be always your many people that you love or spaces that you feel connected to. Yeah. But you can create another happiness, another home, another place far away.
Yeah. And that if you open up, you can discover amazing things. I never imagined I was going to drink tea with milk. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I actually have
I love biscuits.
I have a story of a friend whose parents are from Lebanon. And they came to visit London. We went for afternoon tea. And when the mother saw me pouring milk in my tea, she told me, that's great that you're doing that. You opened yourself to try something new. And that was the success for me to adapt to Venezuela when I left Lebanon. Mm-hmm. I cherish my culture. I'm very Lebanese, but I'm very Venezuelan. And that combination that then I transferred to my kids and my kids have transferred to my grandkids has been the key to create or build our family identity. And it's so true. If you see this family, it's so impressive how they've managed to keep both and have them coexist to the point where everyone that surrounds them wants to learn more and more about their Lebanese heritage, even though they're super Venezuelan. So I guess cultures can coexist. You can grab, the things that you like the most from each and build them kind of like a Lego.
Yeah.
where you have your own version and possibilities.
Yeah, I started to value more things, value arriving on time to places, or
I still don't like that. I only do it because I'm forced to do it,
but yeah.
but I don't like being the first person to arrive to a place.
But
I
like
don't
for
like
example, for me, it's like if you say 7, I organize myself to 7, or getting to adapt yourself and just seeing the nice things that you have around. Like for me, London, walking on the streets, taking my line bike or taking like any bike to transport myself, or just seeing, I don't know, even the seasons. We don't have seasons back home, so I love the seasons. Every autumn I take pictures. So every spring I take pictures. Summer I take pictures. Summer, I don't know. I don't know if I see those pictures.
I don't think we live in the same place. I only take pictures of 2 days of summer and rain.
Yeah, but
And rain.
when it happens, I always take pictures, or I just start to value it. And honestly, just be happy where you are, and your family will always be there. And I miss them every day. I miss every day. I miss my family. I miss my friends. I miss many people. But I also love the life I'm building in London. And I love the version of myself I am creating here.
Yeah, and it's constant because when they ask me, what's your next step? I don't know.
We have no idea.
I know that maybe London is not forever, but there will be something
But
new.
maybe yes. You never know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
So just enjoy. Just enjoy the moment where you are, and hey, be your own self. Show your culture. Like I love going to the streets and dancing my Colombian.
You go to the streets and you live.
Yeah, sometimes I go to the street and I'm like moving my, I don't know, dancing reggaeton, whatever. It's like always take your inner self and never, never, never be ashamed of where you come from.
So that was our migration story and the emotions that we experienced. And I think before we leave, the one thing I want to remind everyone out there or whoever needs to hear these words is that if you're terrified, if you're second guessing your decision, if you're feeling existential and don't really know who you are at the moment because you're conflicted between who you were versus the new version, or, you know, trying to deal with your identity and also the challenges that come with a new place, that's okay. And that's a normal feeling. Just trust the process, like we said, and take it easy, one day at a time. When you least think about it and expect it, you won't be thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
It kind of happens by accident.
Yeah. There's a moment that you wake up and you kind of saying, oh, it starts to feel like home. Or,
yeah. You get a little bit comfortable.
Yeah, you start to be comfortable where you are.
Yeah.
So trust the process. There is always a better tomorrow, and some days cannot be fully happiness, and that's normal. But hey, try to make those days brighter in some way.
Yeah.
And when you feel homesick, call your family, call your friends, or create a place here where you are, and eat your favorite food that reminds you from home or whatever. And hey, there is only one thing, and is never regret your decision of where you are.
Or regret it.
Or regret it.
That's also valid.
Find a way to
That's also
to fix
valid,
it.
but exactly.
Find a way to fix it.
Be honest with yourself. There's a lot of people that feel that if they move abroad, going back to their country is failure.
No. It's not failure at all.
Not.
It's a different path.
Failure,
and every path is valid.
Yeah. Failure is not being where your soul tells you that you need to be in the moment.
Just do it, and I'm proud of you. And on the other one, thank you people here in London for receiving us with the hands open, wide open, because you have made this city, and country, UK, our home. And I can tell right now my home is London.
Yeah. In the living room.
And Vale's living room.
But great. See you next time. And yeah, we just hope that
you enjoy it.
You know, even though we're just small talking and just thinking out loud, maybe something that we said can help you in your process. And if it doesn't,
I hope you had fun listening to us. And hey, don't remember to subscribe to the channel, and to follow us in all social media. We'll leave all the information down in the description. Bye bye.